Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais in a snowy Ontario, Canada, with episode number 153 of the Yakking Show. This is a show for awakening you to new perspectives for the changing world we live in, and it's certainly changing. All sorts of things happening all the time. So today we're very privileged to have a guest we've had once before with some new stuff to share with you, our audience. But before we do that, it's my job to introduce my co-host, Kathleen Beauvais, who introduces guests so much better than I do. But to give Kathleen a quick plug, she wears another hat, and that is helping you solve your IT recruiting and development needs. She has many resources in that area. So if you need to develop something in the IT world or solve a problem, get hold of Kathleen. And that's enough for me for now. So over to you. Welcome, Kathleen.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Peter. I so appreciate it. And we so appreciate you tuning into our show. If anyone out there is interested in being a guest on our show, please don't hesitate to reach out to either Peter or myself. And as Peter just mentioned, we do have a special guest with us. She's been with us before, and we're very excited to find out what is new in her world. Welcome, Jane Stoller. Jane, how are you?
Oh, thank you for having me. And I'm wonderful. I'm so happy to be back.
So Jane, just to recap from the last time we saw you, you are the founder of Organized Jane, a professional organizer who specializes in helping people declutter their spaces as well as organize their business processes. So for those who haven't seen the previous show we did with you, can you give us just a little bit about your background and give us an update on what Organized Jane has been up to since the last time we chatted?
Sure. So yeah, my background, I'm the founder of Organized Jane. I've been doing this for 5 years. Before that, I worked in corporate all over Canada and in Europe for a large cement company. I know it's in construction. It's very interesting, but I did all my education in Canada, and I grew up in a small town in Ontario on a dairy farm. And that's when I started organizing things, pet cats that never stayed put. I always tell that story, and books. And it just kind of evolved. I would organize my teachers, my colleagues. I never had the guts to start my own business, so I didn't do that until 5 years ago. But even during my time in corporate, that's when I started my organizing business processes, which is now my signature course. And of course, always did it on the side, helping people get organized. So a lot of things have changed for Organized Jane since last year, but have not. I still have my signature course for entrepreneurs to help them get organized. Those are signature 6 steps. But I am doing a bit more in-person events now, speaking events. I have another book that I'm working on, and hosting a business retreat this year. So lots of new things coming up now.
Wow, very good. We're going to get on to some of those new things in more detail in a moment, but sort of an overview since we last spoke, and with the effects of the virus and the restrictions becoming sort of semi-permanent for a lot of people, what trends do you see in decluttering and organizing looking ahead, Jane?
It's funny because my business has literally exploded because of the pandemic, because now we were all surrounded by our stuff at home. And we also realized we don't need to go to the office to work. So all of that stuff we had in our offices is also useless. So a lot of people are really thinking about their next, renovations. Construction has gone crazy as well. So it's very aligned in terms of where do you want to be in your space? That's the first thing you see. You wake up in there. We're usually working in our spaces. So the trend has really become to declutter. However, the online shopping market has also increased. So we're trying to declutter, but we're still consumers and we're still shopping. So we still need to continually declutter.
Right. There's a writer to that question, and I live in a small near a small city. I live on a farm, but I'm in touch with a lot of people who live in very small towns and villages in your home ground, northern southwest Ontario. So we are seeing a trend of people moving to the smaller cities because they can work from home. Are you seeing that all over Canada as well, and perhaps all over the world?
Definitely in Canada, in Southwest Ontario, where I grew up, there is an influx of people now. So they're looking at upgrading the internet so that more people can work at home as well. I reside in Whistler, Canada, which is a small town, but there it has skyrocketed with people. Everybody wants to, of course, live in the mountains if they can. So it has the housing boom. I think the 30% increase in housing prices in Whistler.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of, I'd say, increase. People are now more than ever aware of their space. And yes, not having to live in a city provides so many other opportunities. Whether that'll continue, I don't know if offices are going to have to bring people back, but I do think remote working will likely stay at to some level, and we are now confident with Zoom. I run my business in Zoom, and I think a lot of other people do as well now.
Yes, that's correct. Over to you, Kathleen.
So Jane, you have an organizing retreat coming up in April in Cabo, Mexico. Can you tell us all about that, the programming, and what people can expect from your program?
Yes. So, my signature course is 6 steps to organize the back end of any business, but it's all modules online, and I show up every Tuesday live for my students, but it's live on Zoom. But I still found that a lot of my clients wanted a little bit more expertise, and I have a wonderful team that helps me. So I also wanted to bring all of us together to build on my steps. You have to be a client. There's still time to take my course and go through it if you want to come to the retreat in April. But it was originally scheduled for November of 2021. And because of course, the pandemic, I did move that to April. It seems like everything is going forward. There's people are excited to travel. There's lots of precautions in Mexico and the resort that I'm going to. So, it's going forward, and we are just really going to build on the 6 steps. Plus, my team and workshop will be hosting workshops, including Charlotte, who does my public relations on how to organize your PR. So it'll be a lot of great in-person touch points.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So you mentioned when we were talking before, the importance of having multiple streams of income, and you're always transparent about yours. So I know with people losing their jobs like mad because of this virus thing, a lot of people would be really interested in your thoughts on that. So can you share a bit more for our audience?
Yeah, I believe I always said 7 streams of income is that magic number. I read that in a book from a finance expert, Nicole Lappin, I believe, years ago, and it always stuck in my head. And even now, my home is my income too. I Airbnb it when I'm not there. I think there's lots of different ways that we can, there's lots of passive income opportunities in terms of, even from the crypto world, or investing, or doing an online course, an ebook. There's so many little ways you can get. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it's a start of a little bit of passive income. So I'm 100% on this. And I think as the pandemic has taught us anything, we cannot rely on that one source of income. And
absolutely.
And there's so many creative ways. I found there's the ability of especially entrepreneurs during this time to pivot, and we use that word a lot, but to find new ways to repackage their offers, to share their expertise in a different way has been really incredible.
Yes, excellent advice. But what about someone who's been in steady, call it regular employment, either in a small business or in the corporate world, or a teacher or a nurse who hasn't had the business exposure that you've had and Kathleen and I have had, and they suddenly need very quickly to develop another source of income, and they've practiced one skill essentially for most of their working career. They may be in their late 30s, 40s, or younger, or it doesn't matter. Where do they look first? There's so many opportunities. What do they focus on to really take that first step? What would you suggest?
Well, it's a very good point. And that's why I encourage everyone, even if you are in a steady job for 10, 20 years, make sure you're still learning other skills and always upgrading your own skill set as well. But likely you are doing a really important skill already, and you need to look at what those skill sets are. Nobody thought I could make organizing a career, and I did. So it's really look at what you're doing every day in your job. It could be an administrative task that you could do virtually for other people.
Sure.
That's become huge now. It could be something related to finances or accounting. It could be related to HR or yourself in recruitment. There's so many opportunities, and we do more than we think. So just have a look at those strengths you're doing every day. And from them, go on to Google and see what other people are doing with those skills, courses, maybe books, maybe coaching, maybe teaching courses overseas, whatever it may be. But there's got to be something that your skill set you can do to capitalize on it.
Yeah, good advice. Good advice.
So when we're talking about multiple streams of income, Jane, do you have specific ones that you would recommend to people that say know nothing about, well, I'm in a full-time job and I have no idea what else I can be doing out there? Are there other things that you might be able to suggest to them that maybe you're interested in yourself?
Yeah, well, 100%. I know that it's great if you can have, of course, investment properties or renting out a portion, even a room in your home if you're not using it. So those are things you already have to have a bit of the asset there.
Right.
But a lot of people in Canada are looking to this now and seeing where, a lot of our tourism is coming from around our own country. And people like these quaint towns and bed and breakfast and things like that. So think about if you want something more tangible. The next thing would be really like, I'm a big believer in online courses. It's a billion dollar industry. People are wanting to level up their skills. So if there's something you can package into a course or a training, that would be a great way to do something. Just all you need is your computer, and you can start it with a free class and see what kind of response you get from your community, and then say, okay, now I'm going to run a paid version. So little things like that requires no assets. It's just your computer. And the next thing is also selling other people's courses or things. There's a lot of opportunities in sales, which we forget about. Even for myself, I'm looking for someone to help sell my course, and you get commissions. So there's a lot of little at-home jobs. Help other people promote their products and their businesses, and you could also get paid while helping them find something they're looking for.
Excellent. Sure. So speaking of online courses, in your spare time, you teach business classes at a university, and now you're teaching women in your own business booster course. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so my signature course is a business booster course. It's most likely I attract the female entrepreneurs because of my branding. There's lots of men in it too, though. So I always, it's changing this year. Don't want to exclude anybody, but my brand is pink, and that's just the way it went. But it is my signature 6 steps to help you organize your business. And it does teach you the basics of marketing, finance, how to organize your accounting, how to document those business processes, manage your time. So it's a little bit of a business course wrapped into it as well, because I do teach one course with Vancouver Island University, the principles of management. So it's for entry, first year university students on the basics of management. So my course is almost very similar to that, but it's more really focused on your business and the key things you can do to get started.
Good. You mentioned your next book earlier on. So how's that coming along? What's it about? What's it called? When will it be published?
Yes, so the title is still up in the air, and so is the publishing date, but it's going to be on my 6-step organizing process. It'll be a little bit about decluttering to get to that point as well, because even in our business, we have too much complicated systems and processes, and we do too much stuff as an entrepreneur that we don't need to do. So decluttering a bit to get back to your core focus is going to be what it's all about. And I'm still, the pitch is done, but I'm writing it now, but there's no date yet.
Okay. Well, we will watch out for that one. That's for sure. Dear Kathleen, you got another one for Jane?
I just would like to know, is there anything else you'd like our viewers to know about what else you're doing?
Yes. So right now I'm still doing a bit of speaking events, mostly in the US, and one next week about decluttering for the modern day woman. So again, for the women, but in San Diego, I'll be at a closet and cabinet makers association speaking to them. So a lot of corporate events are now coming back. And I think a lot of people just want a little bit of inspiration to get started. And that's what my speaking events are for. Once you're inspired and you see, I can be a little more organized, I can start decluttering. And that's when you look to maybe hire a professional or start on your own, whatever it may be. But I'm really trying to get the word out there more. My course is running evergreen, and I show up every week for that. But really, I'd like to hit more people with events, bring us back, and just get more inspired and get hopefully out of our homes. And so when we come back to them, we'll see, actually, I don't need this much stuff. It's causing me more stress.
Good. I've got my question I asked you before, and I would like your update on that. But before we get that, another one, we've got a little bit of time, so I'm going to throw in another one for you. When we spoke before, you told us a lot more about your career in the corporate industry, in the corporate world, should I say, and you've spoken about starting your business. So in the dealings I have with a lot of people who've been either in the corporate world or small business or teaching, and because of my age, many of them are now approaching retirement. I'm thinking of a couple of women in particular. And I've said, much like you, that you've got skills that you can sell, you can use. And the biggest thing that comes up is what we call the imposter syndrome, right? I say, but I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Now, you've overcome that hurdle very successfully, both in the corporate world and your own business. So someone who's led a fairly simple, straightforward life career-wise, and now this whole thing looks so overwhelming, and the immediate thought is, I'm not good enough. What's your advice to people, especially women, to get over that?
Well, actually, to backtrack, I failed the first attempt at my business 15 years ago now. because I had a little bit of corporate experience, and I went back to school and I thought, okay, I'm going to start my business. Everything I did properly. I had products, I was, website, registered it, but I was scared to market myself, that exact problem. So intellectually, I knew I could do it, and I would be the face of the profit, but I was still scared. And I thought, what are people going to think? I can't do this. I don't have the experience. So I failed. And then I went 10 years to work in the corporate world still. And when I knew that I wanted to start again, I hired a personal coach. I hired a personal branding coach, and she really helped me to get over that fear. And we had weekly calls, just one-on-one, just to get over those points. And she would actually say, okay, I'm waiting for you to post this on LinkedIn and whatever it may be, because you need sometimes that accountability and someone to give you that push. And she also taught me that if you are, if you do have that skill, you're doing a disservice if you don't share it with the world. So people are looking for you. There's lots of people who are inspired by you all around you that already are watching you, that you don't even realize it. So hiring a coach helped me, and I recommend that for anybody. And I still have a coach because we all still have imposter syndrome.
Yeah. No, that's very good. Thank you. I hope that will help people, because I've come across that quite a lot, especially recently with all the changes going on in people's lives, and that's important. Get a coach. Yeah, very good, very good.
And I would add too, Peter, that if somebody's been in a career for a long, long time and they're looking to make a change, sometimes the mindset is, but I don't know anything else, without realizing that they've acquired a lot of transferable skills that they can apply to other things, and they just don't even realize it. And they just need some help into rechanneling those skill sets, right?
And there's a book called Strength Finder. I think I read that a while back, but it really goes through all your strengths too. And that really it helped me. And I still have that book with the stickers of my 5 strengths, and they're still true. But that really helps you say, okay, I'm good at this. What else do other people do that are good at this skill? And I think today people are making money doing like crazy things in courses because other people are looking for that. So I think there's a lot of opportunities today.
Yeah, very good. And what I find, a lot of people who've had regular 8 to 5, 9 to 5 type jobs for many years can't get their head around getting their head around the entrepreneurial concept is one thing, but getting their head around perhaps having to do more than one thing to survive in the short term, they can't get that around. And I know many people who do get away with that, do menial stuff to put some food on the table while they're building their entrepreneurial side, and then let that take over. That's another one that needs a change in thinking to become comfortable with. And because of your farming background and my farming background, there's a huge reservoir of part-time jobs in the farming industry. They cannot get people to work for them, right? And okay, the pay's not high. Huge problem. I speak to a number of farmers, huge problem. So it's not the pay is not wonderful, but it puts food on the table if you've got nothing else. And if you can milk cows for two afternoons a week or something like that while you're building up your business, well, that's the way to survive. So it's another mindset thing.
I like that too. It's like I had to waitress, I took consulting jobs, I did a lot of different jobs while my business wasn't profitable for 2 years until that sorry, my dog was barking there.
Don't worry, not a problem.
No, so I think the farming thing, in my town where I grew up, they're actually quite well paid because a lot of them are big farmers now, and they're looking for people. So that's and that's actually, you're healthy doing outside work and things. So there's so many jobs, and I think you're right. We just, as a society, even if you have an MBA like myself, we can go back and still you can do any job, waitress, clean, to make money for your business.
And for women especially, I really enjoy seeing one of my neighbors farms 2,500 acres of crops, and he had a couple of female university students working on the farm in summer, and these girls are driving these huge tractors. You know what I'm talking about, with big tractors and bidirectionals and the trucks and sprayers, and they just get on with it, and it's quite acceptable now for women to do that. So that's another big opportunity,
Even in construction too, there was not a lot of women, and it's a great place for women to excel, because we are good at organizing. Housekeeping leads to safety. We bring a softer approach to things, so it really was a great place to work too. And there's so many jobs in construction, as you know, laborers as well, that pay very well. And we need to, if you need a job or fund your business, a great way to start.
Absolutely. So we went off a little track, but I think that's useful. That's something
Mhm.
people need to hear. Kathleen, you got any more? I've got my burning question.
Yes,
for
go
you.
ahead with your burning question.
Burning. I have to ask this question of every successful, experienced person that comes on the show, and you know what it is. But I think you might have some different thoughts after a year. So here it is. Based on your years of experience, what do you say is the single most important difference in habit, characteristic, personality trait, whatever you want to call it, between people who are successful? And I don't just mean making money. I mean
Yes.
what you consider successful in life. So a bit of balance. Successful in business, yes, but family, everything, and those who keep on struggling. Is there a key, do you think?
That's a big question, and I knew this was coming, and I actually don't remember what my last year answer was, but especially now, I think it's just being positive, because especially during the pandemic, you can see really the negative people versus the positive ones, and the positive ones just keep going, and I've failed so many times, but I'm still wake up happy and do my business and help people. And of course, we all have bad days, but you have to continually look at that. There's a positive in everything. The pandemic has actually done a lot of positives for everybody. Can think of one positive in their life as well. So that to me is now I'm noticing the key of people that are, still being in business. And, if even my course, it's a lot of work, but if you're positive, you can do it, you will get through it. If not, you won't get through it. And I think that's a big differentiator right now in the out there.
Yes, very important, because unfortunately there's not a lot of negativity about. So
and it's an interesting, especially Ontario where this is recorded. I feel like a lot. It's a trying time, so we need to even more just think we could do it, move forward, just get on with it, and be happy, or try to be happy doing it.
And things could always be worse,
Exactly, they really could.
And I know, I've been there.
Yes,
things can be a lot worse. There's still lots to be positive about. Oh, great, Jane, thank you for that. And I think if I remember rightly, the first time around, I think you said empathy, wasn't it?
It might have been empathy, yes, because that's a big one in the construction industry. I talked about it, and even now in my new business, and farming animals, of course, but empathy is a big one. And especially there's a lot of women-run organizations I speak at and work with, and that's a big thing coming out in the workplace too now, empathy to keep your employees happy and whatnot. So empathy and positivity kind of go together a bit.
Oh, of course they do. Yes. Yeah, very good. No, I think that was a good addition to your first answer.
Yes.
So back to Kathleen.
So Jane, how do people contact you?
Yeah, so I have one website, organizedjane.com, organized with a Z for the Canadians, Americans. And that has all my social channels on there. I'm most active on Instagram at Organized Jane. My LinkedIn this year, I'm really doing a push, and I'm seeing great results as well. So that's, you can search Organized Jane or Jane Stoller. But if anybody listening to is on Instagram, send me a note. I'd love to send them a resource that they're looking for, whether it be on business or decluttering their home. And I usually respond within 24 hours to all of my Instagram DMs and emails as well. So looking forward to seeing and talking to your viewers.
Excellent. And on the book, don't forget when your book is published and when you've got a date, let us know. And because
I will.
I don't know if you get time to read our weekly newsletter that we send out. We always feature a previous guest author. So as soon as your book's ready, we will feature you on there, and
absolutely
more people.
Can't wait. I'm positive it'll be this year.
We're only January, so
exactly.
I hope it'll
That's what I'm
be
giving myself some time there.
For sure. No, we look certainly, Jane. We look forward to it, and we look forward to getting you back in another year and hearing about how your retreat at Cabo went.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be interesting to hear about that. So
yes, I can't wait. About half Canadians and half Americans, so it's an even split. So it'll be nice to get everybody down there together.
Excellent. And there's still room for that, for more people?
There's still room.
Okay.
There's about 3 more spots left, and just Organized Jane. You can find my email there or Instagram, and I'll send you all the details. And it's on my website as well, all the what's included and all the workshops.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Good.
Well, thank you so much, Jane.
Thanks,
we
Jane.
Thank you.
appreciated having you on the show again today. And thank you once again for tuning into our show. And also, if we love reading your comments, so please keep those coming. And until next time, everyone, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.